I'd like to welcome everyone to the conversation where we talk about everything Cowboys. My favorite team, your favorite team, America's team. Here with your host, Coach Marv.
Cowboy Nation, man, how are you doing tonight? I just wanted to stop in right quick, man. I know there's some other content creators out there, but I always I'm still trying to put this work in and clean my glasses a little bit. Trying to put this work in. Seems like the Cowboy Nation is up in a uproar. We 5 games in, we 2, 3, and 1, 6 games into of a season of a whole new coaching staff, whole new culture trying to be built, whole new everything, and we're almost at the point of this giving up. If you can hear me, please let me know if it's time for bed. If my volume is up loud enough for you to hear me, please mic check for anybody out there that if you want to if you can't hear me. Seen a lot of storylines, a lot of people talking about. Thank you, Sam. A lot of people talking about Matt Eagleflus. There's a lot of people talking about how you doing, darling? Appreciate you always. A lot of people talking about Matt Eagleflus. A lot of people talking about this defense or how bad it is. People talking about how we got manhandled, how we getting players back. I don't know if y'all got a chance to see my title to this live stream, which is very important to this live stream. And I think, and I'm asking all content creators if they, if some of the guys that I work with or do something with on their shows or anybody's shows, I want them, for the people who are content creators, have been football players and people who have been in football and people who not just been in football, that have been football players, people who are very good, knowledgeable football fans, people that know football. Like, there are some people who had played football, like, the lady Stargazy and her crew, man, they know a lot about football, man. Taj, you know a lot about football. It's a lot. You don't have to play the sport to know football, but you have to know the essence of the sport. And in my title, it says, what makes a good defense? And I ask people, when y'all think of defense, when you think of a defensive team, what excites you about a defense? when you see football, when your team may have had a good defense before, when you may have had your college team or your pro team, the Cowboys, if their team when they had a defense, good defense before, or when you watch them, when you're talking about certain great defenses in the history of the NFL, what characteristics does those defenses have? And when most time when we talking about the characteristics of a defense, yeah, Ricky, you're right. Because you got to have these qualities to have a good defense before you even talk about trading for somebody. Because somebody's not going to come in and change the whole makeup if you have a bad makeup. They're not going to change it in 11 weeks, 12 weeks. What is and I go back to Trayvon Diggs was talking about identity. And there's a difference when you're talking about identity of offense and when you're talking about identity of defense. But what is the characteristics of a good defense? And I really believe in my heart of hearts. Yeah. I'm gonna get to that comment. Yeah, that's true. And yes, I really believe in my heart of hearts. If our content creators, our people that's really running, doing a lot of content or speaking on this defense and speaking on our problems, if they really sat down and were honest and took all the anxiety and I hate to use that word again, the thirstiness of them so wound up and so wanting to win and so frustrated for so long and not getting there and just so pent up with anxiety and just sometimes we just over analyze and just jump off, just go crazy because we want to win so bad. And I don't think none of them that don't want to win. But if they sat back and really thought about it and said, if I think of any team that I consider having a good defense, if I just thought of them having a good defense, it'll be what this gentleman right here said in his comment. This is just two qualities of a good defense. One, they're going to be physical. And two, they're going to be mental tough. And you say, well, Coach, what you mean by, well, everybody know what physical means. That means you're going to be physical at the line of scrimmage. And that don't mean you're going to hit people behind after the play. That don't mean we're going to attack people out of bounds. But that does mean that the other team is going to feel your presence as a football team. Every time you get a chance to tackle them, they're going to feel your presence as a football team. That's the physical part. The second part is about being mentally tough. That means when you get a big play against you, that means when things are not going well, you're able, because defense got to have short memories. They cannot be in the point of really with it up and down and crazy and not really aware of what's going on. I mean, when they go through adversity, they got to be able to shake that off and to get back together. especially in defense, because offense is going to do some things. But those two characteristics are two of the characteristics you need to have a good defense. Before we talk about players, I know we got other people talking about drafting, about trades and all that stuff. But those two characteristics don't have names attached to them. There are a mental state that a team must be. What's another one? That's good. Those two at on top of my list. It's about four or five characteristics of a good defense. And you got more of these characteristics than a great defense. But these are characteristics of a good defense. First, the physical and mental toughness. There's another one. It starts with an S. That one is speed. Good defenses are physical, they're mentally tough, and they got speed. Because if you add speed with mental toughness, speed with physical, it's almost like you flying and hitting, and it's impactful. Okay, speed was my second one. Mental toughness and physical. Three of them already. But this is a good comment here. Very good comment. The best ones were built off attitude and desire. The number 4 thing that I would like to say, and we could put both of them together. We got four characteristics of a good defense that we already got. And I have not said anything about scheme. And I'm going to get to, when I talk about scheme, how scheme is over talked about in defense. The 4 things we already got, right? The 4 things we already got. We got a defense is going to be physical. They're going to have mental toughness. I told you speed. And this one right here that says a defense is going to have attitude and desire. That's where they got to have a little edge to them. And a little willpower to say they won't be. That's where that dog comes into them. That attitude and desires, they got to have that dog. Some people think that the dog is built with physicality. No. The dog is that is a combination of that mental toughness and physical together. And when you mix those two together, you get attitude and desire. That's where the physical mindset comes in. So it's 4 characteristics we came up already. Physicality, mental toughness, speed, and we put together attitude and desire. And there's really one more that's out there. What's going on, man? Is one more out there. We one more out there. Because if I talk to any of these content creators, any of these people out here doing stuff, they can't tell me that these characteristics is not of a good defense. And if you're looking to have a good defense, it got to have these criteria. Because if it doesn't, what do you have? There's one more that I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to give you that one. A good defense must have teamwork. Some want to call continuity. Some want to call it teamwork. It's got to have teamwork. Defensive linemen have to have teamwork just like offensive linemen. The front end, the linemen have to be connected to the linebackers. The linebackers have to be connected to the secondary. They got to have that. It's got to be embedded in them when they come up to the line that everybody knows where they're going to go, and as a unit, they're going to get the job done. And they're going to trust their teammates to do their job. Five things I said a defense need to have. And I'm not going to talk about, we finna start talking about our team. But I told you 5 things that are characteristics that a defense needs. Defense needs these 5 characteristics. A good defense. It needs physicality. It needs mental toughness. It needs speed. I ain't putting them in the order. Speed. It needs desire and attitude together. That's one. And it needs teamwork. You give me that without any names. I bet you I have a good defense. And a lot of people like to talk about scheme. And I'm going to say this, and I challenge anybody out there to contradict this. The best defenses that have been, and even in this year, and right now, that's in the NFL, in college, in the history of the NFL, the better of good defenses. Don't try to confuse you. They line up in where they got to be, and what they line up in, they do certain things with how they line up, but they don't. Hey, you got to beat their defense. The Legion of Boom did not leave out the cover 3 too much. People say, "Oh man, well, how they gonna? They could stand the same thing," and because the Legion of Boom had those criteria. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when they won their Super Bowl, they had that dominating defense. They stayed in cover 2. It didn't work for other people as great, but they stayed in it. And I'm watching other defenses in the league, and they're telling us that the Seattle has one of the better defense. And I'm watching them on a Sunday night. They said they line up in the same thing. They don't try to fool you. They may have some quirks here and there, but they believe in their base. And when you get a defense that's trying to fool you and trying to switch things up and trying to move people all around, trying to hide people and do all kind of crazy stuff, most times that defense ain't good. They just trying to go smoke and mirrors. But if you're good at what you do, you can adjust it here and there, But the fundamental base of it is good enough to handle everything. Because if you got these 5 characteristics, bring it on. Now let's look at our defense. Because I think scheme is, like I said, scheme is so overrated. People like to talk about scheme and say, well, it's about the scheme. Some ain't flawed. Sometimes you're flawed in how you execute the scheme. And when we watch alignment and assignment, and we look at something and we say, man, why they lined up like that? If we was in the coach's room, we would find out a lot of times they lined up wrong. But we killed the coach. But if a defense got these 5 characteristics, they're good. So anybody want me to dispute me on that? If I got defense that's physical, I got defense that's really mentally tough. So you can't shock them. You can't rock them. I got a defense that got some speed. I got a defense that got desire and attitude. Those are 2 together. They got that dog, that desire and attitude. And then I got a defense that is totally in sync with each other and got teamwork. They trust each other. They work together. You tell me that if nobody, when you look at the defense, all the good defenses, that they don't have those things. Now let's look at our defense. Do we have speed? Some would say our defense is kind of slow. I wouldn't say we got a blazing speedy defense. Would you consider, and I'm just asking, when you look at our defense, do you see a physical defense? Do you be in a game and say, damn, we hitting out there? Man, we hitting people. I'm asking. Would you consider us having a physical defense? Do you consider our defense having the attitude and desire? I mean, no, let's not even get to attitude. Do you consider our defense being mentally tough? How we handle adversity? Do we lock back in after we give up a drive? Do we do we correct ourselves, and when we playing bad and we start playing good? Because maybe in Philadelphia we might have did better. Do we hang our heads? You watch the games. You tell me. And this for any of the people out here giving all these critiques. Now I know some people gonna get a critique and say, well, we're going back to coaching. But I'm talking about players. Is there anybody on here that's maybe a tone setter that got some of these? I know we might be talking about Agent Zero, but he's not playing. That's that. If we feel like we quit it sometimes, and our energy level goes down, that's part of mental toughness. Do you think our defense? Okay, we asked the question about speed. We asked the question about physicality, what you see of our team now. They don't need to lie. We asked the question about mental toughness. Do you think our team has some dogs out there? The guys are got that mental toughness, gonna wreck shop. Do you see our defense with some dogs out there, or you see us with a bunch of nice guys? And I'm not talking about it. I'm just asking you, because anybody out there making content and talking about what we need to do and how we need to get rid of this and how we need to get rid of that. Some of our players think that they are these things, but we don't see it. Even in their midst of being mad about the system, some of these criteria we still should see. Okay, number 5. Do you think we got some continuity on defense? Now, this may be a strict shot to coaching staff. Because when you got receivers running wide open, you got, as I watched in this film, watching people playing hero ball and doing all kind of crazy things. Now, it may be because they don't like the way it goes, but these other 4 characteristics, the speed, the physicality, the mental toughness, the desire and attitude, I'm here to tell you, if you got that as a football player, there ain't no coach gonna take that away from you. And usually when you don't have that as a football player, and if you do coming up short, usually you use excuses. Now, we think trading for somebody gonna bring that here. Overall, I don't know. It don't usually do it. Yeah, and let me jump off here and say the 46. The 46 personnel had defensive back. Let me tell you something about the 46 personnel. When you talk about the Chicago Bears, their 2 corners was probably not very good cover guys. So they put in a system that say, hey, you're gonna cover you ain't got to cover long. You're gonna take certain routes. We're gonna get to the quarterback. But we believe in our defense. They didn't change. They had one hiccup against Miami, but they didn't change. When you played the Bears, you knew what they were going to line up in. You knew what they were going to line up in. When you got a good defense, they make you adjust to them. They'll say, hey, we're going to line up in this lineup. This is what we're going to play most of the time. And we're going to play it so well that you ain't going to be able to attack it. I tell you, man, most of the good defenses they ain't tricking nobody. And everybody think that you get all these defenses and they call it up. So no. They play their base so well that it's able to adapt to everything you do. They throw a little quirk here and there, but they don't got to fool nothing because they believe in their base. Now, y'all want to say that, hey, maybe they don't believe in Eagle Flukes at all. And that's why we can't get that way. But where's the other 4 characteristics? Okay, we ain't got teamwork, but where's the physicality? Where's the speed? Where's the mental toughness? Where's just the attitude of just being doggish. And when somebody gonna question that? We 6 games in. We have seen instances where we played better. Let's be realistic, people. We have had instances where we have played better and we just allowed big plays, but we didn't allow people to drive. Then we shut down, like you said, think about it. We shut down big plays. Now we letting people drive. We had a pretty good defensive game, even though the numbers, but we really had a pretty good defensive game against the Jets. Then we turned around, we had a pretty good defensive performance coming back in the second half against Philly. And we allowed big plays in Chicago. And New York just had big plays. I'm not saying our defense is playing wonderful, but there's glimpses that we played better. But there's no excuse for not having attitude and physicality. Let's start there. Because I asked you. I asked my Cowboy fans, content creators, people who follow the game, my live stream guys that we do the what name? When you think of defense, good defenses, what comes to your mind? Is it finesse? Interceptions? No one usually calls turnovers. Physicality. The idea of guys getting hit or guys rushing because they're going to get hit. This offense has gotten better because we got a physical approach. We got more of a physical approach to it. And you notice now that Dak has got more time. Yeah, we got somebody. He got more time when we playing that play action pass game. And you're noticing that we're starting to be able to get the ball, even though we got some receivers with big numbers, but we're starting to get more people involved because of the physical presence. You cannot say you got a physical football team if your defense is not physical. And I'm going to say this. Coaches can make you be physical on the field. That's got to be the manhood of the players that we got on the field. On a consistent basis. I told you I wasn't going to stay here long with you. For the next rest of the week, I'm going to come in and we're going to talk about the Washington Commanders. But I will say this. For all the people out there that's talking about trades, if we try to make a trade, we're not going to trade for 6 or 7 people. If we do make a trade, we may get maybe 1 or maybe 2 people. And 1 or 2 people on a 55-man roster or a 70-man roster when you talk about practice squads that's coming in from somewhere else in almost the middle of the season, quarter of the season. they're gonna have to either come into a culture that's already set and add to it, but they're not gonna be able to come and change it. And if you think a guy's gonna be able to come in here or two guys gonna be able to come in and change the culture, you're delusional. Now they can come in here and add to something that you got and push it to another level, but they cannot come in here and change the culture. If we said that we wanted a culture, a new culture, and we said that we wanted Schottenheimer to build a new culture, we're finding out that there's some people in this room that's not built for the culture. We're finding out, as I always said, when you're trying to change culture and you're trying to change the mindset that has been around maybe 5, maybe 6 years, you're going to find out that there's some people that's going to buck the culture change. And they're going to want things to be the exact same as they always been. This is not on the defense of Eagleflus or no coaching staff. If you're saying that you want to change culture, it is a little harder than just to come in when it's embedded into the softness of this nature here. And you're going to find out it's going to be some people that we're going to like are just not built for the culture change. And you're going to find out some people that we may like or dislike that's going to buck the culture change because they don't want it. But if we want to do anything about our defense, if we want to do anything about our defense, let's start by asking them to be a lot more physical. Let's start there. Let's start telling them we want them to hitting people. Let's start telling them we want the lineman not trying to run around blocks. There's a difference between gap scheme, but what I saw on the all 22 was not going up in gaps. I saw guys trying to make themselves skinny and run around blocks. Let's start there. Let's start telling our guys, regardless of what scheme, let's start about being more physical and intimidating. Let's start there. And let's see how that works. But you can't give me finesse. And you can't tell me if you're a film watcher, a football person, you can't tell me that you look at this defense and see the characteristics that I said on a consistent basis. You may see it in flashes, but do you see it on a consistent basis? Because consistency is what makes you great. Do you see speed on a consistent basis? Or do we need to put some guys in there faster? Do you see physicality on a consistent basis all the way through your team? Do you see mental toughness through this team on a consistent basis? Or you see when things get bad, we go to blaming and making innuendos and throwing people under the bus and not really being accountable, not really getting mad. Do you see continuity teamwork? Where they trust in each other? Those 5 characteristics, y'all, we know that they are the characteristics of a good defense. It's bringing a Myles Garrett or somebody in here going to get those characteristics. He can't care for the whole team. This team has a chance because nobody's ran away with it. If we could self-correct and just get that attitude and stop crying about who's here and play with the same tenacity that you started football with. When you decide to play defense, you decide to play on the physical side of football. Because you wanted to hit somebody. Let's get to that and let's start there. And whoever else we add, but let's start there. Because I'm watching it on film. I'm watching it on game. But I have heard nobody. Maybe I don't want to toot my own, but I have heard nobody says that physicality is a problem with this defense. And if this defense can look themselves in the face and can comment and don't talk about being physical first, then they're not holding themselves accountable. This is not no old school coach talk. This ain't changed in football. These characteristics are the characteristics of a good defense. Physical, speed, mental toughness, attitude and desire, and teamwork. It has changed. It ain't say nothing about scheme. The best defenses line up in their defense and say, come get us. Check it. Check it out. When we play against the better defenses, they ain't complicated. They coming at you. And if you're not a physical offense, their physicality is going to wear on you until it makes you start to pull back. So if we want to start somewhere of fixing the defense, let's start about being a more physical football team on the defensive end. Let's start there. And I guarantee if you start there, a lot of things will get straightened out. Everybody, Sam. Not just the defensive line. See, that is the problem. And I'm not preaching at you, Sam, but that's the problem with our Cowboy nature, our Cowboy. We want to give a certain blame to a certain group or a certain person. But we don't realize whoever is at fault, we all are to blame. Because we all fail. So if the defensive line got to step up their physicality, which they need to, that means the linebacker got to step up theirs. That means the secondary got to step up theirs. We can't go into this and say, well, our defensive line got to be more physical, and in the back end, we do nothing. Because the characteristic of a good defense, Sam, of that stuff you gave me, it does not with the defensive line. It's through the whole defense, isn't it? Every team that I've been watching that has had adversity, the Chiefs the other night, out-physicaled Detroit. One of the best running games that they had this year. Stuffed their running game. Physically brought it to Detroit and made Detroit back down. I watched the Atlanta Falcons. They lost 30-0 to the Carolina Panthers. And ever since then, they have gotten more physical offensively and defensively. Now they got 2 big-time victories. When you are in adverse times, when you in your life, when you start to have some financial problems or whatever, what do? You get on your grind. You start grinding. You go out and hustling. You ain't got no time for that's a physical nature. When an animal gets cornered, do he wither up and get soft? He comes out fighting. He's physical in his mindset. How you straighten adversity out? You go back to the roots of football. You don't sit around crying and bitching and complaining. You go out and start busting some chops. First play. And you let people know that this ain't your birthday. And we'll figure the god doggone scheme out later on. So if y'all want to fix the defense, and I'm telling all content creators, let's start right there. Let's start by saying, hey man, whoever we're going to bring in here, whoever playing, y'all got to be more physical than what this is all together. We ain't got time for people passing up tackles and jumping on the side of guys and just getting them on the ground. We need some guys out here start hitting now. Because this is how we're going to get out of the mud. When you get your truck stuck in the mud, do you go out there and start blowing on the tire? You get something to yank that joint up out of there. Every time adversity gets there, you pull your bootstraps up, you pull your britches up, you get yourself together, and you grind your way out of it. But consistency. See, you can't do it this week against Washington and then come lay an egg next week. Or do it 2 weeks and then think you arrive and then go back playing soft. That's a product of a weak-minded team. Mental toughness. I told you this from the beginning. Go back and watch my videos I talked about this weeks when I'm talking about it, and I need to come back to my by the stages of where we are in the build a new culture. See, we're in the testing stage. We're in the unbelievable. But you got to stay the course, Schottenheimer. If you believe in what you're trying to put in, you can't give up on it after 6 games. Because if Jimmy Johnson didn't believe what he was putting in and changed after 6 games, he would never got where he got to. You got to believe in it. You got to push it. And you got to push that one that we're going to be a physical team. I go back to one other thing, and I'll leave you with this. I go back to the Detroit Lions. Everybody knows the Detroit Lions. They ain't won a Super Bowl, but they done start having more success. But let's go back to Detroit Lions. When that coach got over there, he preached a physical presence, and they didn't start out well. People thought about firing him, but he kept the grind. He had to get rid of some guys, but he kept the grind. Now it's starting to play dividends. Now they've got to finish the task. Schottenheimer, if you believe in what you believe in, stay to your stuff. But I will tell you to tell your defensive coordinator and all the other coaches. Let's try getting physical first. Let's hold our team accountable for being physical. And see where that starts us off at. If the front office makes some moves, whatever they're going to do, fine. But that's got to be first. And I don't guarantee you no wins, but I would tell you, man, my history in football and anybody who out there knows football, if you're the most physical team on the field, it usually works out good for you. Hey, my people, thank y'all, because y'all could have been with a lot of other people. I know there's a lot of other content creators that y'all follow that's doing great. I think the boss and Lou and all those people they're doing their collab, and they're probably going over some good scenarios about who they want to trades and all that stuff. But I understand trades are good, and I understand that that's where but work and team and the unexpected and the least and the sum of the parts is what win games. And you're not gonna get that by osmosis or just some name. Names are good, but what makes names opportunity? But this team could get better. They just gotta have the willpower. So thank you again, man, for being with me and sharing with me. Please share this video to your friends, your neighbors, to your people. And I want you, when you share this video, and I always say, if you click on this video and you share this video, I want you to, when you share it, I want you to share it with a quote. I just don't want you to share it with just the video, the name of the video. I want you to share it, even though you see it on X. Share it, reshare it, but I want you to put a quote. And I want you to say what you think a defense is. Because that's why the question is out there. What do you think a criteria of a good defense is? And then look at your defense and say they got those things. Or have they showed you they had them and they didn't at times? But let's start with being physical. Let's start with being mentally tough. Let's start with having, getting a little bit more speed out there. Let's start with having some great desire and attitude about what we do. And let's start by being in that film room and working to get together and trusting each other, regardless of what we play. Let's start there. And let's see how it turns out. Thank y'all so much, man. The Cash App is down there. Yeah, if you put some super chats in there, I didn't see them because I'm on this side. Every time I try to go on, like I said, in the next week or so, my birthday is coming up, and my uh, second cousin, he's a young man that knows about computers. We're gonna put that together so I can be a little stronger, so I can go on live off a YouTube platform. But when I go on the YouTube platform, it disconnects with my internet, so and so, and even though I'm on a hard line, and they'll go out at any minute. With the Riverside platform I have here, it keeps the live stream going most times without any problems. But my Cash App is there, man. If you want to Cash App, you want to support the channel. But this is for y'all being here with me and listening and talking. We're going to talk about real football stuff. You're going to find out Coach Marv is not into this fantasy chasing things. I'm not discrediting those things. Those things are true. But with the greatest team sport in the history of team sports, one person is not going to change nothing. It may enhance it, but it's not going to change it. One person is not going to change the culture of the mindset of thinking in an organization. They can enhance what you already have. They can't change it. Not in a half a season. And if you do let somebody come in, they take over your locker room and change your mentality, your locker room is already too soft. It is going to rear its head sooner or later. So, thank you again. I hope I didn't take up too much of your time. But as I always say, man, Cowboy Nation, Cowboy fans, Cowboy players, Cowboy coaches, start with physicality first. Let's try to be that a little bit more. A lot more. And get your mind on your work. Get your mind on your work and get your mind out of all these other things. Let's just think about football. Winning hard-nosed football. Because you're going to need it because you're about to go into a gauntlet of a schedule. You got to be gladiators. And gladiators are not soft. All right? Until next time, Warren, Sam, all y'all guys that been putting stuff in the chat, man, I appreciate you, man. You don't know, man. It's good to have some real, true football fans. I ain't talking about Cowboy fans. Football fans in the chat. Thank you to the young lady, man. Thank you for all y'all that's in this chat, man. And I appreciate it. Next time, man, let's tell people about Coach Marv Real Talk, and then see if we can keep pushing this, because we're going to talk about real life situations and put this Cowboy Nation into where it needs to be. Share it to some of these big time Cowboy people, tag them so they can see that, hey, let's start with physicality first.